Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. It's Monday, so happy Monday everyone. And it does mean we have the Mallard again. So I've got two issues here for you. We're concentrating basically on the tender. Obviously, a lot of the bodywork now is done. And as you can see, it's looking absolutely fantastic. And I'll show you that in a little bit closer detail. As I said last week, I have already applied the decals for the front striping and also painted the cab floor brown. So I'll show you that in detail, but it does mean we can continue on with the tender. So let's get into it. Let's get building.
Welcome to the workshop, tools in the light, screws and glue, they're holding it tight. Piece by piece, it's a builder's delight, making dreams in the still of the night. Let's get into it, let's get building now. Put it all together, I'll show you how. Screw by screw and a little glue too. Welcome to the workshop, it's waiting for you.
Right, so as I said, I've got a couple of issues here for you. We are basically just working on the top section of this tender, and it's basically this section here that we're concentrating on, and we will be putting in this little coal wall as well. The other bits in here, and I'll just show you. It's basically a couple of bits to do with the body, which I've already done, which I showed you this last week. Let's move that out to one side a bit. So you can see the part we have here, and we're basically just adding some additional detail to the top of the tender that you can see. And then we've got the cab here, and you can see just painting the interior there in the wood colour. So that's all it was for 106. Now obviously at the end of 105, I think it was adding the stripes to the body as well, and you can just about see that I've done that. I'll show you that in greater detail in a moment, but first of all we'll just go through the magazines. So we've got Britain's Railways and Classic Locomotives, and then in 107 again more tender detail, and we are putting in this little wall, and we've got a few streamlining bits going in as well. And then for this bit, it's starting on the clear coat, which pretty much is where that is ready for now. There's a couple little details I still need to add first, namely the painting around the windows. Just need to put the wood colour in around the windows, wood frames. I've got Britain's Railways and Classic Locomotives. So just give you a quick reminder of what we needed to do. We needed to cut the stripes, basically a small section out in the middle, and they had made it long enough that you can actually waste a little bit in the middle there. So that was just cutting those down and doing nothing else with them. And then in 104 was where we had to obviously do all the tender bits, which I showed you last week. But then we were actually adding the decals to the engine itself, and it's basically just put them in two sections and cut around this little knob here. And I'll now show you what that is looking like. Now I've only done it earlier, so they are still a little bit damp, but you can see that the stripes are on there and they do look pretty good. And as you can see in there, I have started painting the floor brown. It does need a second coat, and probably a little bit of weathering just to make it look a little bit better. And I've painted this plinth bit black as well, whereas I hadn't done that previously because it was still in the blue. So all of that is done. So it means we can put the body to one side and we concentrate just on the tender. Right, so these are the parts we have. And the first part we're going to be using is this piece here. And I'm just going to give it a quick clean up just where those parts were in the fret. And this is quite simply going to continue this detail that we've had here, just in here. Now, I think it might have been easier to put this in prior to the side pieces, but it is what it is, and hopefully we can just get it to squeeze in. It is quite flexible, so might need to just bend it and then flatten it against that side. Right, so I've got that in. Not the best fit, and it would have definitely been easier to put that in before putting these two side pieces in, but it is what it is, and it's in there. So we can move on to the next part. And the next part is going to be this U-shaped piece here. So I'll just take that clamp off there now. This is basically just going to sit around the interior perimeter of this, just like that. Now, I don't know how easy you're going to be able to see this. Hopefully you can see it at least on the top camera where it's going. But we need to make sure it doesn't cross this line that we've got here. So I think the easy way to put this in is probably going to be just line up one side, glue that side down, and then work way around the perimeter. Right, so that's one side in and down. Just going to work our way around, make sure that's to the back. Obviously, this is really easy to bend into the wrong sort of shape. But once we're in, just going to run some glue around the perimeter. So just go from the back here. And with that piece in, we now need this piece. And this is quite simply going to complete that perimeter. It's just going to sit in here against that line that we scored previously again. Again, just going to run around the perimeter, ensure this is all glued down. And then I'm going to move on to this piece. Now it does say about putting this on with some two-part epoxy, so you've got a bit of time to basically maneuver it around. My plan is to potentially just line up the two holes, probably put a file through the middle, and then run some glue around the outside, and that should be enough to hold it. So clean that up nicely. So it's just going to sit here over the top of that hole there. So I've got my circular file. I'll just put that in like that. That's obviously going to line up the two holes really nicely. And just tack it in place with some glue. Take the file out, and then we can just glue the rest of it. And the very last thing we need to do is we need to get a couple of bits from our previous issue. And that's these two uprights, if you remember from last week. Now, again, just going to do the same thing as I did last week, which is make sure the detail's facing all the same direction. And they're basically just going to set in just here and here where these two holes are. Again, these probably need some level of shaping, just to make sure that they fit in nicely. But we've got that tab on the bottom there, and that's just going to go into the hole on the deck. Just checking it for fit. Okay, yeah, looks like basically just the same sort of shaping. Just take off a little bit of this corner and it should fit in nicely. Right, managed to get those two bits in there. Not the easiest thing to do. Needed quite a bit of tweaking and fettling just to try and get those to fit in properly, but they're in now. And that's actually the last bit of that stage. So we can move on to 107. So the first parts we're going to need for 107 are these two parts. And these are for the wall, I believe, that's going to go in the middle here. Now we basically just need to glue these back to back, like so. So I think what I'm going to do is just get one of the clamps, put it right on the edge there, make sure these are perfectly aligned, and they look pretty good. Get some glue, and just on a rod like this, just put it into that opening. Make sure there's plenty there. Grab another clamp, and we'll just clamp that side like that. And then while that one's clamped, we can take this one off and do the exact same thing to glue this side. And then we'll just replace that clamp as well. Then we give that a few minutes just to set off. And while that's setting off, we can prepare the next parts. So I'm just going to take this one out. The reason I haven't cleaned off the edges of that one, I was going to do it in one piece. That way you should get a nice smooth edge. But with these two pieces that's just taken out, you just need to clean them up. Right, that's those pieces cleaned up. So this should have enough time now to go off. And I will now just clean up these edges. Right, I managed to get that wall in there. Now, the instructions do say it can be a challenging piece and to take bits off the side, just to give you a little bit of wiggle room. Basically lay it down and then fold it up. Doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's challenging, but as it probably because nigh on impossible didn't sound very friendly. But it is almost impossible to get that in there. I really think that was done in the wrong order. I would have probably put this piece in first and then put the rivet detail in afterwards. That would have made so much more sense, and you wouldn't have ended up damaging some of this rivet detail trying to get this in, because there is literally no room for error on this. And even now, even filing off the sides, I think it's still pushing out the sides of this plastic a little bit. And obviously that is a set diameter, that's a set size. So they've either got this bit too wide or this bit's too narrow. Everyone else sort of fit in properly. This can't go down any further because of those metal pieces that we put on the sides, if you remember, on the inside. So it's not a case of that's too high or anything. It literally cannot go down any further. So yeah, just the bad way of doing it, I think. And if you are doing this yourselves and you haven't got this far yet, don't put the details in first. Put that bit in first. You're going to have a much better time putting it in. And then put the details around it. It doesn't stop you from putting the details in around it. So I just think that was a bad order of operations, and you can see that this is bent, and I don't know what else I can do about that. I think it's just going to have to live with that bend in it, and hopefully it's not going to be too noticeable when it's all done and I'll have this filled with coal. So we shall see. But that's taken me probably the best part of half an hour to get that to go in. Filing it, trying to get it to fit, and then say still bending it and almost taking off half the detail there, which you can see I have managed to damage. But hopefully I can get a clamp on that and some glue and it will fold back in place. But with those in place, we can move on to the next section. Now we had these two little points here where these two bits will fit into. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to file these down a little bit because I don't think they need to be as long as they are. They're not going into a slot, they're just going into a slight indent. And we're going to go with this one first, which doesn't have this detail on the edge here, whereas this one's got this detail here. And it's basically just going to be where that tab is, it's going to go into that little slot there, and we want to make sure this slot goes around that little upright. And that is how that's going to sit in, just like that. So I'll get that one glued in and then we'll put the other one in. So that's that one in, and then we're going to just get the second one in exactly the same way. Again, making sure it's going over the front of that, that slot's going over this upright. So with that one in, I'm just going to add a bit of glue across the top there. Bit of glue at the sides. Glue up that middle section. And just along the bottom section here. So that's what those two pieces are looking like in there. Next piece we're going to need is this piece. And this is part of the streamlining. We just need to do a gentle bend on this one. So just clean up those edges. And this is quite simply going to fit over here. So also we do need to bend it so it fits, conforms to this curve. So I'm just going to use my thumb and just curl it like you're curling a bit of paper probably. You remember doing it with the scissors, getting the nice curly bits of paper. Well, basically the same thing. So we get the curve started. So to glue that in place, all I'm going to do is tack a bit of glue on one edge first. Making sure it lines up with the front of the tender there. And then you can see it doesn't quite conform at the moment, which is absolutely fine, because that will allow me to just run a little bit of glue along here and along the edge of this piece, and then we can just get that pushed down into place. Right, last little bit for this one. We just need to take this strip of rivets. We need to bend it. And it's basically going up inside this section here that we've just put on. And there's probably enough glue just there to hold that in place. Right, with that piece in there, that's all there is to do in that stage. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. So that's the tender done for this week. I do know next week we are continuing with the tender. We've got a few more details to add. But that was an absolute marathon build. It's probably taken me the best part of 2 hours, if not longer, to actually do that. And that's just all the fiddling and fettling of the parts, and also this piece, this bridge section or the wall section. Absolute nightmare to get in, and I really do think that was done in the wrong order. But it is what it is. It's in now, and it's another step closer to completion. Also, we are actually 106 now, are we? 107 out of 130 issues. So there's only 23 more issues to go until this is done. Now, that's not going to be 23 weeks. As you can see, I do double them up occasionally. And depending on what's actually going on, I'll double up a few more. I think last week I did 3 issues for you. So, yeah, in the next few weeks, we're going to have one completed engine, which would be absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I've got the clear coat to do on the main body. I probably won't record that, but I'll show you the end result. It's only going to be clear coat out of an airbrush probably, and it'll just be paint going on paint. So not really anything exciting. But next week, as I say, we were working on the tender still, and we will continue that one. And hopefully that's probably all we're going to be doing for a little while, considering how far advanced we are with the rest of the engine and how far behind we are with this one. At some point, we will be constructing a pony truck. We haven't got that yet. And again, that's only going to get painted black as well. Again, I'll probably miss out that little bit of painting as well. Obviously, if you did want to see a painting video, check out the links. I'll probably put one up in the corner or something, and you can go back and see me painting the Mallard. If you want to see anything else that goes on in the workshop or how this one progresses, please do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell, and that way you'll know when I've released new videos. Until the next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.